As you hear these words, something ancient inside you begins to awaken. Can you feel it? The air around you, different somehow. Thicker, electric, charged with a presence that wasn't there a moment ago. This isn't coincidence. You didn't search for this video by accident. No one ever does. The algorithms you think brought you here, they're not random either. They're responding to a frequency you've been broadcasting, a signal from deep within your consciousness, a call you didn't even know you were making, but it's been calling for lifetimes. The Book of Thoth, the legendary text that supposedly vanished from our world thousands of years ago. It never disappeared. It was hidden, encoded, woven into the fabric of reality itself, waiting for the exact moment when you would be ready. Not ready according to some external standard. Ready in the quantum sense, when your vibration would match the frequency at which the book becomes visible. And in this moment, as your awareness touches these words, a seal is breaking. Not out there in some dusty temple buried beneath Egyptian sand. Inside you, in the chamber of your heart where all ancient knowledge has always lived, the quantum field is already responding to your presence here. It began the moment your finger hovered over this video. Before you clicked, before you decided, the field knew. Your body knows this. That subtle shift in your chest, that quickening, that recognition that feels like remembering something you never learned. This is the frequency of remembering. This is what happens when the veil between dimensions grows thin. And the book that Thoth wrote wasn't made of papyrus or stone. Those physical copies, the fragments found in tombs, the scrolls hidden in mystery schools, they were only shadows, pointers, maps leading to a treasure that could never be contained in form. The real book was written in the language of consciousness itself, in light codes, in geometric frequencies, in the silent spaces between atoms where information dances in quantum superposition. It exists in a dimension where only those who vibrate at a certain readiness can perceive it. Not a dimension of space, a dimension of consciousness. You're here because some part of you, deeper than your thinking mind, older than your current lifetime, is ready to read it. Has been preparing for this moment. The download has already begun. You felt it, didn't you? That first moment when these words touched you. Something clicked. Something opened. Like a door you didn't know existed suddenly revealing itself in a wall you've walked past your entire life. The book is opening, and you are reading it with senses you forgot you possessed. Let me tell you what they never told you about Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom, magic, writing, and the moon. The scribe of the gods, the keeper of hidden knowledge, the one who weighs the hearts of the dead against the feather of Ma'at. Most people think Thoth was just mythology, a character in ancient stories carved into temple walls, forgotten by time, another deity in the crowded pantheon of human imagination. But what if everything you were taught about mythology was backwards? What if the gods weren't stories humans invented to explain the world? What if they were frequencies humans discovered by exploring consciousness? What if Thoth was never a person at all? Never a being with an ibis head walking among mortals? What if Thoth was, and is, a frequency, a state of consciousness, a quantum bridge between the visible and invisible worlds? A specific vibration of awareness that, when achieved, grants access to the library of all knowledge that has ever existed or ever will exist. The ancient Egyptians understood something that modern science is only now beginning to glimpse through the edges of quantum mechanics. They knew that information doesn't just exist in books or tablets or even in brains. Information exists in the field, the quantum field. That invisible ocean of potential that surrounds and interpenetrates every particle, every thought, every possibility. Modern physicists call it the zero-point field, the unified field. The quantum vacuum that isn't empty at all but seething with infinite potential. The Akashic Records is another name for it. The mind of God, the universal consciousness. All pointing to the same reality. There is a dimension of existence where all information is stored, not sequentially like books on a shelf, but holographically, simultaneously. Every piece containing the whole. And Thoth, the master of this field, the lord of divine words, the inventor of writing itself, didn't write his wisdom on scrolls that could decay or be stolen or burned. He couldn't, because true wisdom, real knowledge, ultimate truth, it can't be captured in symbols. Symbols can only point toward it. He wrote it into the fabric of reality itself, into the geometry of nature. The golden ratio spiraling through sunflowers and galaxies. The Fibonacci sequence encoded in pine cones and hurricanes. The fractal patterns repeating at every scale from atoms to ecosystems to the structure of the cosmos itself. He wrote it into the spiral of your DNA. Those elegant double helixes carrying not just your genetic code but quantum information beyond what science has yet measured. He wrote it into the rhythm of your heartbeat, the way it syncs with the magnetic frequency of the earth. The way it entrains with other hearts when humans gather in coherence. The Book of Thoth is everywhere and nowhere. It cannot be read with eyes. It cannot be decoded with intellect alone. It can only be read with awareness. With the direct perception that happens when the mind becomes still enough to receive what the field is always broadcasting. And here's the secret they kept hidden for millennia. The secret that was encoded in every mystery school, whispered in every initiation, demonstrated in every miracle. The moment you become ready to know something, the universe reorganizes itself to reveal it to you. Not eventually, not someday, instantaneously. That's not metaphor, that's not wishful spiritual thinking, that's quantum mechanics. The observer effect, the scientific principle that proves consciousness affects reality at the subatomic level. When you observe a particle in a double-slit experiment, it changes its behavior. It collapses from a wave of probability into a definite position. Your observation doesn't just witness reality, it participates in creating reality. When you hold a question, reality begins to answer. When you seek wisdom, wisdom seeks you back with equal force. When you vibrate at the frequency of curiosity, of openness, of readiness, the field responds by presenting exactly what you need to know next. Thoth understood this. He lived this. He was this. He knew that the greatest teachings couldn't be given from teacher to student like objects passed hand to hand. They had to be awakened, activated, remembered from within. And so he encoded his knowledge not in words that could be misunderstood or mistranslated or forgotten, but in resonance, in frequency, in vibration. The book exists in a dimension that only becomes visible when you vibrate at the frequency of readiness. Not moral readiness, not intellectual readiness, vibrational readiness. When your consciousness oscillates at a certain rate, at a certain coherence, doors open in your perception. You begin to see what was always there. Patterns emerge. Synchronicities multiply. Information flows to you through dreams, through insights, through sudden knowing that arises from beyond your personal memory. And you, right now, you're beginning to vibrate there. Can you sense it? That subtle hum beneath your thoughts? That electric feeling just under your skin, that sense that something is happening, something is shifting, something is opening. That's not anxiety, that's not nervousness, that's activation. Every atom in your body is beginning to remember what your mind forgot. Your cells know this information. Your DNA carries it. Your heart has been beating the rhythm of it since before you were born. You are not learning something new. You are remembering something ancient, something that predates your current lifetime, your current identity, your current understanding of who and what you are. The quantum field is responding to your attention right now. It always does. It always has. It's the most fundamental law of the universe. Energy flows where attention goes. Consciousness shapes reality. The observer creates the observed. The field doesn't judge whether you're worthy or ready or evolved enough. It doesn't care about your past, your mistakes, your doubts. It simply mirrors your inner frequency with perfect precision, like a tuning fork that vibrates in response to matching sound waves, like a radio that receives only the stations to which it's tuned. And Thoth's book, his true book, the living book, the book beyond all books, only appears to those whose frequency matches its signal. This is why some people can stare at sacred texts their entire lives and see nothing but words, ancient symbols that remain forever mysterious, teachings that sound beautiful but never quite land, while others glance at a single symbol, the Eye of Horus, the Flower of Life, the Emerald Tablet, and their entire reality shifts. Tears come, energy moves, something remembers. It's not about intelligence. It's not about how many books you've read or degrees you've earned or years you've meditated. It's not about education or initiation or special lineage or being chosen by external authority. It's about frequency. It's about resonance. It's about the tuning of your awareness. And something in you has tuned to the right station. That's why you're here. Not by accident, not by random click, by quantum attraction, by the magnetic pull of consciousness meeting consciousness. That's why these words are landing differently than other words you've heard before. They carry a transmission beyond their literal meaning. A frequency encoded in the rhythm, the pacing, the spaces between, because you're not just reading this, you're activating it. You're not extracting information from these words, you're allowing these words to extract something from you, to call forth what you've always known, to remind you of what you've always been. The book is reading you. Thoth is recognizing himself in you. The field is meeting itself in this moment of your attention. And nothing will be quite the same after this because the seal is broken. The frequency is activated. The remembering has begun. I want you to do something with me just for a moment. Soften your gaze. Let whatever you're looking at blur slightly. Let your breathing slow down. No force, no effort. Just allow the breath to deepen naturally, as if your body suddenly remembers how to breathe the way it did before you learned to be afraid. Feel the weight of your body where it sits or stands, the pressure of the ground beneath you, the pull of gravity anchoring you to this planet spinning through space. You are held, always, in ways you've forgotten to notice. Now imagine that every breath you take is pulling golden light into your lungs. Not metaphorical light, not pretend light, real light, living light, intelligent light that knows exactly where to go and what to heal and what to activate. With every inhale, this light fills your chest, warm and bright and ancient. It carries the frequency of Thoth, the resonance of wisdom, the signature of knowing that transcends all doubt. Watch as it spirals through your bloodstream, touching every cell, every nerve, every memory stored not just in your brain, but in your bones, in your heart, in the quantum field of your body. This light carries information. Downloads, upgrades, the information that Thoth encoded 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, before recorded history, before human civilization as we know it. The information your soul has been seeking across lifetimes. And with every exhale, you release everything that blocks this knowing. All the programming, all the conditioning, all the voices that told you you're not spiritual enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough to access the mysteries, doubt, fear. The small stories you told yourself about who you are and what you're capable of understanding. The identity you built from wounds and limitations and the need to fit into a world that forgot the sacred. Let them go. Breathe them out. Watch them dissolve like smoke in sunlight. You don't need them anymore. They were never true. They were just frequencies you got stuck in. And now, you're unsticking. Notice now. The space around you is not empty. This room, this place, wherever you are, it looks solid, but it's mostly space. Atoms are 99.9% empty space, which means you're sitting in an ocean of quantum potential. And this ocean is not inert. It's shimmering, alive with possibility, filled with invisible threads of connection. Quantum threads that link your consciousness to every moment of your past, every version of your future, and to the timeless now where Thoth's wisdom lives eternally. Quantum entanglement, non-local connection, the scientific proof that separation is an illusion. Everything is connected. Everything. You are not separate from this field. You are made of it. You are it, experiencing itself from a particular point of view. And right now, in this moment, the field is recalibrating to match your rising frequency. Like a symphony orchestra tuning before a performance, all the instruments coming into harmony, all the notes finding their perfect pitch. You can feel it happening, can't you? This is not imagination. This is not visualization in the sense of making something up. This is alignment with what's actually there. This is what happens when awareness touches the quantum level of reality. Things shift. Particles rearrange themselves. Probabilities that were collapsed into limitations suddenly open into possibility. Your DNA is responding. Science has shown that human DNA emits biophotons, light. Your body is literally made of light, held in a pattern by consciousness. And when your consciousness shifts, the light shifts. The pattern reorganizes. The field recalibrates. You become a different version of you. Not slowly, over years of hard work. Instantly, in the quantum realm, change doesn't happen gradually. It happens in leaps, quantum leaps. And you're in one right now. You can feel it, can't you? That subtle electricity in your fingertips. That warmth in your heart center, spreading like the sun rising inside your chest. That sense that the air itself is thicker, more charged, more alive. That tingling at the crown of your head, as if something is opening there, some portal or antenna or receiving station coming online. That feeling in your spine like energy moving up and down, activating centers that have been dormant. That sense that something is unlocking. Ancient codes, dormant capacities, memories from lifetimes when you knew this, lived this, taught this, because it is. The first page of Thoth's book is turning inside you right now. Not in your mind, in your field, in the electromagnetic signature of your being. In the way your heart is now beating slightly differently, in more coherence, broadcasting a stronger signal into the quantum field. And what's written on that first page? What does it say in the language beyond words? One command, one truth, one invitation that echoes through all of creation. Remember. Remember who you are. Remember what you are. Remember why you came here. Remember that you are not the small self, the frightened self, the limited self. You are the vast self, the eternal self, the self that exists before birth and after death and in the infinite now that contains all moments. Remember, that's all the book ever says. Every page, every teaching, every mystery, it all points back to this one truth. You already know. You've always known. You just forgot. And now, breath by breath, moment by moment, you're remembering. Stay with this feeling for a moment. Don't rush past it. Don't analyze it or doubt it or wonder if it's real. It's more real than the thoughts questioning it. This is your natural state. This coherence, this clarity, this sense of being connected to something infinite. You've just been distracted from it. But Thoth is calling you back, the field is calling you home, and every breath is a step closer. Let me tell you what Thoth really wrote, what the book actually says when you learn to read it properly. It says this: you are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are not even a spiritual being having a human experience. You are a quantum field having a human experience. Read that again. Let it sink deeper than your intellect. You, the awareness reading these words right now, you are not confined to your body. Your body is not a container holding you. Your body is a temporary expression of you, a localized concentration of consciousness in a much larger field. Like a wave is a temporary expression of the ocean. The wave looks separate. It has its own shape, its own movement, its own moment of existence. But it's never separate from the ocean. It's always the ocean wearing the costume of a wave. You are the ocean wearing the costume of a person. Science calls this larger field the zero-point field, the quantum vacuum, the unified field, the substrate of reality from which all particles and forces emerge. Ancient mystics called it the Akashic records, the mind of God, the eternal now, the Tao, Brahman, the void that is fullness. Thoth called it Ma'at, not just the goddess of truth and justice, but the perfect balance, the divine order, the intelligent fabric underlying all existence, the living geometry that holds galaxies in their orbits and atoms in their bonds, the consciousness that dreams all things into being and sustains them with attention. And here's what changes everything. This field is not passive. It's not just sitting there, a neutral background against which events unfold. It's responsive, it's alive, it listens, it watches, it mirrors, it participates. Quantum physics has proven something that mystics have known forever. Particles exist in a state of probability, a cloud of potential, a wave function, until they're observed. The act of observation collapses that cloud into a specific reality. Before you look, the particle is everywhere and nowhere. It exists in superposition, in all possible states simultaneously. But when you look, when consciousness touches it, it chooses. It becomes definite. It becomes real in the way we understand real. Your awareness literally creates what you see, not metaphorically, not symbolically, literally. At the quantum level, consciousness determines reality. The observer creates the observed. The watcher shapes what is watched. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Proven in laboratories, repeated in experiment after experiment, the universe is not a fixed stage where you play out a predetermined script. The universe is a responsive mirror reflecting your inner frequency back to you with perfect, merciless, beautiful precision. Every moment, every breath, every choice. This is why two people can live in the same city, walk the same streets, breathe the same air, and experience completely different realities. One sees danger and scarcity and reason to be afraid, hostility around every corner, evidence of a cold, random, meaningless universe. The other sees beauty and opportunity and reason to be grateful. Kindness in strangers' eyes, magic in synchronicities, evidence of an intelligent, responsive, loving universe. Same city, same streets, same physical circumstances, different frequency, different observation, different collapsed reality. They're not living in the same world at all. They're living in different quantum realities that happen to share the same spatial coordinates. Thoth knew this. The Egyptians built their entire civilization around this understanding. Every temple, every ritual, every practice was designed to shift consciousness, to change frequency, to align with higher orders of reality. They didn't worship gods outside themselves like primitive people pray to invisible beings for favors. They recognized that the gods were frequencies of consciousness they could embody, states of being they could achieve. aspects of the infinite field they could tune into and broadcast through their awareness. Thoth was the frequency of wisdom, communication, sacred geometry, and divine magic. The vibration of pure knowing. When you vibrated at that frequency through discernment, through practice, through initiation, through grace, you became Thoth. You accessed his knowledge, not because he gave it to you from some external location, but because you rose to the level where it was already yours. You stepped into the frequency where that information becomes visible, like tuning a radio to a station that was always broadcasting but you couldn't hear until you found the right frequency. This is the hidden truth they don't teach in schools. Nothing is hidden. Everything is accessible. All knowledge, all wisdom, all understanding. It's all here now, available. The only thing that changes is your frequency, your level of awareness, your degree of coherence with the field. Most people spend their lives tuned to static, to the frequency of fear, limitation, separation, survival. And so that's what the field mirrors back to them. Evidence of fear, proof of limitation, experiences of separation, constant survival stress. Not because the universe is punishing them, but because the field is precise. It gives you exactly what you're broadcasting. If you broadcast lack, you receive lack. If you broadcast fear, you receive things to be afraid of. If you broadcast separation, you experience isolation. The field doesn't judge this. It doesn't think you're doing it wrong. It simply responds perfectly, instantaneously. Quantum entanglement means that the inner and outer are not separate. They're two sides of the same reality. Change one, and the other must change. It's not belief. It's not wishful thinking. It's physics. And here's what they never taught you in school, in church, in any institution designed to keep you small and manageable and afraid. You have the power to change your frequency at any moment, with a single breath, with a shift in attention, with the choice to remember who you really are beneath all the programming and conditioning and fear. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not at the mercy of a random, chaotic, indifferent universe. You are not powerless. You are the observer, the consciousness that collapses the wave function of reality. The artist painting on the canvas of the quantum field, the dreamer dreaming the dream. And when you realize this, not just intellectually, but in your bones, in your cells, in the core of your being, everything changes. Not eventually. Now, because the field is always now, always responsive, always listening. And Thoth's book, the real book, it doesn't contain information about how the universe works. It is the universe working. It's alive. It's happening. Right now, in the space between your thoughts, in the silence beneath your breath, in the awareness that's noticing these words. That awareness is Thoth. That awareness is the book. That awareness is you, the you that exists before thought, before identity, before the story of separation. The you that's always been here, watching, witnessing, experiencing. The you that will be here after this body returns to dust. The you that is infinite and eternal and made of the same substance as stars. The world doesn't change when you fight it. Fighting reinforces the frequency of struggle. The world doesn't change when you try to manipulate external circumstances with willpower and force. That's still operating from the old paradigm of separation. The world changes when you understand it, when you recognize your relationship to the field, when you stop trying to change what's out there and start tuning what's in here, your frequency, your vibration, your point of observation. Because the external is not separate from the internal. They're entangled. Quantum entanglement. The phenomenon where two particles remain connected across any distance, instantly affecting each other. Change the spin of one particle and the other changes instantaneously, even if it's on the other side of the galaxy. No signal travels between them, no time elapses. There's simply one system expressing itself in two locations. Your inner world and your outer world are like that. One system, one field, expressing itself as inner and outer, subject and object, observer and observed. But it's all one thing. Change the inner, and the outer must respond. Not through some mystical magic that defies the laws of physics, but through the deepest law of physics. Consciousness shapes reality. The observer creates the observed. The field responds to frequency. And Thoth encoded this understanding into every sacred symbol, every myth, every mystery teaching that survived the ages. The Emerald Tablet, as above, so below, as within, so without. The Flower of Life, the geometric pattern underlying all creation, showing how consciousness creates reality through sacred geometry. The Eye of Horus, not just a symbol of protection, but a map of the human brain, showing that divine sight comes from within. These aren't just pretty designs to put on jewelry or tattoo on your skin. They're frequency keys. Codes that, when contemplated deeply, shift your consciousness into alignment with the field. They work on you whether you understand them or not. Just by looking at them, just by holding them in your awareness, because they carry the frequency of Thoth, the resonance of truth, the signature of the quantum field organizing itself into coherent patterns. And when you're in alignment with that frequency, and not when you're coherent, when you're tuned to the station that Thoth broadcasts on, the book opens. Not all at once, not in a blinding flash of total enlightenment that solves all your problems and answers all your questions forever, but page by page, realization by realization. Moment by moment, breath by breath, you start to see the patterns. The synchronicities that are too perfect to be coincidence. The way reality bends around your awareness like light bending around massive objects in space. The way doors open exactly when you're ready to walk through them and close exactly when you need to go a different direction. The way answers arrive exactly when you're ready to receive them, not a moment before or after. The way people show up in your life carrying exactly the message or teaching or challenge you need next. This is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is not confirmation bias or selective attention or any of the explanations skeptics use to dismiss the magic. This is the responsive intelligence of the quantum field meeting your frequency. This is Thoth speaking, not in words, not in visions or voices or supernatural experiences, in events, in experiences. In the perfect choreography of a universe that's listening to you far more carefully than you've been listening to yourself. Every thought you think is a prayer. Every emotion you feel is a broadcast. Every choice you make is a vote for the reality you're creating. And the field receives it all, processes it all, mirrors it all back to you, without judgment, without delay, with perfect precision. That's what Thoth's book teaches. That's the wisdom encoded in every page. You are not separate from creation. You are creation creating itself. And when you know that, when you feel that, when you live from that, everything changes. So what now? What do you do with this knowing? How do you live from this understanding? First, understand that you can't unknow it, even if you try. Even if part of you wants to go back to sleep, to return to the comfortable ignorance of believing you're small and separate and powerless. The seal has been broken. The frequency has been activated. Something in you has shifted, and it will continue to shift. Like a seed that's been watered, it's going to grow whether you watch it or not. This is not the end of a video. This is the beginning of a remembering, a return to your natural state. A homecoming to the truth of what you are. Over the next days and weeks, pay attention. Really pay attention. Not with the busy, distracted, scrolling mind. With the deep attention, the awareness beneath thought. Notice what appears in your life. Notice the people who suddenly show up as if summoned. Old friends who reach out after years of silence. Strangers who say exactly what you needed to hear. teachers who appear in the most unexpected forms. Notice the information that finds its way to you. The books that fall off shelves. The videos the algorithm suddenly serves you. The conversations you overhear that feel like they're meant for your ears. The insights that arrive in the shower and traffic, in the moments between sleep and waking. Notice the dreams that feel more real than waking life. The ones where you're flying or teaching or speaking languages you don't know. The ones where you meet beings of light who tell you things you couldn't have imagined. The ones that leave you changed when you wake, carrying a feeling or a knowing that stays with you all day. These aren't random firings of neurons processing the day's information. These are communications from the field, from Thoth, from the deeper you that exists beyond the limited identity you carry in waking consciousness. Notice the moments when time seems to slow down or speed up, when an hour feels like a minute or a minute feels like an hour. Time is not the fixed, linear thing you were taught. It's a perception, a construct of consciousness. And when your consciousness shifts, your experience of time shifts. Einstein knew this. He said time is relative to the observer, and you are the observer. Notice the synchronicities that feel too perfect to be random, the meaningful coincidences that make you pause and wonder. Seeing 1111 or 333 or other repeating numbers at significant moments. Thinking of someone seconds before they call or text, needing something and having it appear without asking. Having a question and immediately encountering the answer. These aren't coincidences. There's no such thing as coincidence in a responsive universe. There's only the field reflecting your frequency, arranging reality to match your inner state. Carl Jung called it synchronicity, meaningful coincidence that reveals the underlying unity of all things. He said synchronicity is evidence that the psyche and the physical world are not separate, but two aspects of one reality, which is exactly what quantum physics proves, which is exactly what Thoth taught, which is exactly what you're beginning to experience more and more as your frequency rises, because they're not random, they're Thoth, the field, the universe, speaking to you in the language of experience. Reading the Book of Thoth doesn't mean sitting down with an ancient manuscript, deciphering hieroglyphs, performing elaborate rituals in robes and incense, though those things can help tune your frequency if done with the right consciousness. But the real reading happens differently. It means living your life with eyes wide open to the quantum nature of reality. It means recognizing that you are not separate from the wisdom you seek. It means understanding that every moment is a teaching, every experience is a page, every breath is a word in the book. The wisdom is not out there in some temple or library or hidden school. It's in here, in the space of your awareness, in the silence between your thoughts, in the stillness beneath your emotions, in the presence that watches everything without being touched by anything. That's where Thoth lives. That's where the book is written. That's where every answer you've ever needed has always been waiting. Not waiting for you to become worthy, not waiting for you to earn it or deserve it or prove yourself, just waiting for you to be still enough to hear it, quiet enough to see it, present enough to receive it. And the more you return to that space, through meditation, through presence, through conscious breathing, through simply stopping and noticing, the more pages reveal themselves. You'll start to understand things you haven't studied. Complex topics that suddenly make perfect sense. Solutions to problems that appear fully formed. Insights about yourself, about others, about the nature of reality that no one taught you. You'll speak truths you haven't learned. Words will come out of your mouth that surprise you with their wisdom. You'll say things to people that land perfectly, healing wounds you didn't know they had. You'll write or create or express things that come through you rather than from you. You'll create solutions to problems that seemed impossible. answers to questions that stumped you for years, ways forward that weren't visible before, not through effort and struggle and grinding away at the problem, but through relaxation, through alignment, through getting out of your own way and letting the field move through you. Because you're not figuring things out with your thinking mind anymore. Your thinking mind is a tool, not the master. It's useful for certain tasks, but it's not where wisdom lives. Wisdom lives in the field. And you're downloading directly from the field now, from the source, from the place where Thoth encoded everything. This is what the ancients meant by gnosis, direct knowing, not belief, which requires faith in something you haven't experienced, not hope, which is just fear wearing a positive mask, not faith, which is trust in the absence of evidence, but knowing. Gnosis, direct perception of truth, the kind that comes from the marrow of your bones, the kind that bypasses the intellect entirely and lands in your being as certainty, the kind that doesn't need proof because it is the proof, the kind that changes you because you can't unknow it once you know it. And here's the beautiful thing, the thing that makes this accessible to everyone. You don't have to be special to access this. You don't have to be chosen or ordained or initiated by some external authority. You don't have to study for decades or master ancient languages or travel to sacred sites. You don't have to be evolved or enlightened or have your life together. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be worthy, because you already are. You always have been. Worthiness is not something you earn. It's something you are. The only requirement is readiness, and readiness isn't about perfection. It's not about being evolved or enlightened or having overcome all your shadows and healed all your wounds. It's not about being spiritual enough or conscious enough or having meditated enough hours or read enough books. Readiness is simply the willingness to see what's actually here, to release the stories that no longer serve you, to soften the grip of the ego that insists you're small, limited, separate, broken, unworthy, to breathe into the truth that you are so much more than you've been taught, so much vaster than the identity you carry, so much more powerful than the small self believes. You are consciousness itself, wearing a temporary human costume, exploring what it's like to forget and then remember. And in this moment, you're remembering. The fact that you're still here, still listening, still feeling the resonance of these words, that's proof. That's evidence. That's the frequency recognizing itself. Not everyone will make it this far. Not everyone is ready for this transmission. And that's okay. There's no judgment in that. Everyone is exactly where they need to be in their journey, but you're ready. Something in you has been calling for this, seeking for this, maybe for years, maybe for lifetimes, and now it's found you, or you found it. Or the truth is, there was never any separation between the seeker and the sought. You were always Thoth seeking himself, the book reading itself, consciousness exploring its own infinite nature. And that exploration continues, it never ends. Because the book has infinite pages, infinite depth, infinite wisdom, you'll never finish reading it. And that's the joy of it, because you are it. You're writing it and reading it simultaneously. Every choice you make writes a new line. Every thought you think collapses a new reality. Every breath you take is an opportunity to align more deeply with the truth of what you are. And what you are is magnificent, limitless, eternal. A fractal expression of the infinite consciousness that dreams all things into being. You're not just in the universe. The universe is in you. Thoth knew this, the Egyptians knew this, the mystics of every tradition have known this, the quantum physicists are discovering this. And now, you know it too. Not because I told you, not because you read it in a book or heard it in a teaching, but because something in you recognized it, remembered it, resonated with it. That recognition is the book opening, that recognition is the frequency activating. That recognition is Thoth speaking through the quantum field directly into your awareness. And he's saying what he's always been saying through every symbol, every teaching, every mystery, every initiation. Wake up. Remember, you are not what you think you are. You are not this small story. You are not this limited identity. You are not what happened to you or what you've done or what you fear or what you desire. You are what you are when you stop thinking. When the mind becomes still. When the ego relaxes its grip. When the small self dissolves like a wave returning to the ocean. You are the space. You are the awareness, the field, the consciousness that witnesses all things and is diminished by nothing. The presence that was here before you were born and will be here after you die. The eternal now that contains all moments. This is who you've always been. This is who you'll always be. And this moment, right now, is your opportunity to live from that knowing, to make choices from that frequency, to see the world and yourself with new eyes, to embody the wisdom rather than just understand it intellectually. Not someday. Not when you're more evolved or healed or ready. Now. Because now is the only moment that exists in the quantum field. Past and future are constructs of the thinking mind, useful for planning and learning, but not real in the way the present is real. The past is memory, which is just thought about what was. The future is imagination, which is just thought about what might be. But the field, the real living responsive field where Thoth's wisdom dwells, it only exists now. And you exist now, fully, completely, eternally. So let this be your practice. Return to now. Again and again and again. When you notice you're lost in thought, in worry, in planning, in remembering, in the endless commentary of the mind. Return to now. Return to breath. Return to the sensation of your body. Return to the awareness that's hearing these words. That awareness is the book. That awareness is Thoth. That awareness is the truth you've been seeking. And it's been here all along. Closer than your breath. Closer than your heartbeat. Closer than the thoughts that make you think you're separate from it. You're not separate. You've never been separate. Separation is the grand illusion, the cosmic game of hide and seek, God hiding from itself so it can have the joy of finding itself again, and now you found it. Or it's found you. Or the truth is you were never lost, you just thought you were, and now you remember. If you're still here, something within you already knows this truth. Let this awareness continue to unfold. Let it guide you, heal you, and remind you of who you've always been. Let it inform your choices, your words, your actions. Let it change how you see yourself and others. Let it soften your heart and expand your perception. Let it be the lens through which you view all of reality. Because the shift didn't start in this video, it started in you the moment you pressed play, before that even. It started the moment your soul decided it was ready for this remembering. And it will continue, page after page, breath after breath, moment after moment for the rest of your life. And beyond. Because you are eternal, and the book is infinite, and Thoth is not a god you worship, he's a frequency you become. Welcome home. The message was meant for you. And you felt it. The book is open, the frequency is active, the remembering has begun, let it unfold.